kind of related to this topic, it's kind of on social media. So basically, how we're talking about, when all of a sudden your training wheels are off and you can go in any direction you'd like. Now that's in our hands, basically, with TikTok, with Instagram, Snapchat. You can join any social circle, any group, look at whatever you want, listen to whatever you want with the click of a button within 10 seconds, right? So, and now here you are, you've started doing dawah on all these social media platforms. What is your advice to how a Muslim should approach social media? Like, do you think they should, stay completely away from it? Should they only talk to their friends? What are some tips and advices you'd give?
Oh, it's a dangerous one, right?
Yeah.
Because even me, like growing up, we didn't have social media.
Yeah.
And the first time I got a phone, I'm not that old, by the way, okay? Back in my day, like I'm not saying that, but I was born in the 90s, right? I was born in 1994. And that's actually quite longer than I thought. That's pretty old. Anyway,
94 is not that bad. If you're in the 80s,
that's true. That's true. And me growing up, it was very little technology like phones and whatnot. We had those massive desktop computers. We used to play those computer games.
Yeah.
And the internet was dial-up internet. And I don't know if you remember. Have you ever had dial-up internet?
I've seen it in movies.
Let's just say anyone here who was born in the 90s or like maybe the early 90s and before, and the moment I said dial-up internet, you heard what I said. Because it had a sound.
Okay.
And because it was also connected to the phone line.
So okay.
And it was like, I guess I'll try to make the sound. Okay, let's do this.
All right.
It was something like, the moment you put in like the code or whatever, and you press enter, it went like, and you're like, what is this, a rock music? What is going on here?
Yeah.
And then if you try to use the phone, the phone was like very like blurry, like you couldn't hear what was happening, very staticky. Okay. Because the phone lines are connected.
It's definitely not our iPhone 14 Pro.
No. So growing up, I didn't have any of that until high school, when like Facebook started becoming popular.
Yeah.
And then when I went to university, Instagram, Snapchat, and all those were like starting to boom. Yeah. Okay. And then now it's like everything.
TikTok wasn't around.
It wasn't that popular until the pandemic, really.
Yeah, no.
Before the pandemic, like you heard of it, and then
you'd see like a few people like like on the street just doing their dances in front of their phone.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, they're crazy. That's cool. They need help.
Everyone is like that.
And now they are all like that. And
third person.
Anyway, Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is, so for me, I've seen the extremities. So I've seen people, imams, during Friday sermons saying, stay away from technology. Technology is a sin. Stay away from social media. It's a sin. And I'm like, you're gonna lose half the crowd.
Yeah.
90% of the crowd at that point.
Yeah. Especially nowadays.
And then there's some people who say, oh, like, yeah, whatever, use it, just be careful. That's also, what does it mean to be careful, right? You need to also put controls in place. I would say, personally, just from my experience, everything has positives and negatives. And sometimes the negatives outweigh the positives, sometimes the positives outweigh the negatives. With social media, if you're not using social media nowadays, you are at a significant disadvantage.
Yeah.
So if someone says, well, you can't use social media, well, number one, they're disconnected from all their friends now.
Yeah.
Right? So if you tell someone you can't use social media in their middle school or high school, they are now an outcast with their friends. So that's a problem. If you're going to say to someone you can't use social media, well, is LinkedIn included as social media?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it is.
You might need that for job opportunities.
Employment. If
you tell someone who runs a business you can't use social media. Nowadays, one of the first things people do when you recommend a business, they go to social media. Do they have an Instagram? Do they have a Facebook? What other online accounts do they have? Do they even have a website? Do they have a YouTube channel? They don't have to.
I don't think anyone has YouTube.
Yeah.
Business.
But a lot of them have Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, 100%.
So you look at that. What are the reviews like on Google, right?
Yeah.
And then when it comes to dawah.
Yeah.
If you're not using social media for dawah, you are missing out on a huge audience.
The vast majority.
The vast majority of the world. 100%. Because if you're still writing articles and stuff, people could start read that, but you are limiting your reach. So the important thing is to understand social media has significant power, significant influence when used correctly, but the downfalls are also very, very heavy.
The addictions that develop because of it is
It's
unbelievable.
number one, the addictions when you
Yeah.
spend hours scrolling idly. You've wasted so much time in your day. How is it 2 a.m.? I started scrolling at 9.
Yeah.
That's very dangerous. So controls, limiting how many hours you're on social media. If you're a parent, limiting your kids' phone usage. How do you do that? Now, different parents will have different methods of limiting their kids' phone usage. But you don't want to take it away from them because then they're not exposed to anything in the world and all their friends are. You don't want to give them everything and they're overexposed. So you want to give them just the right amount of exposure.
Yeah.
Which is something that Ustad Aisha Prime said during her course of arriving at contentment.
Yeah.
And that's, you don't shelter your kids too much. Like you have to give them a little bit of exposure to the world.
Balance there.
It's to balance it. And then for us, because you can also look and then on Instagram and as you're scrolling, suggested pages come along and half of it is just all nudity.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because now I can follow a page because it's just a meme page and I'm just having fun.
Yeah.
And then they're advertising for this OnlyFans and this and that. So there's a lot of visual stimulation as well.
Especially now on TikTok, which is basically a lip syncing dance app, which is like you're kind of inviting perversion.
In a way. And the less you're wearing, the more the views.
Of course, like that. It's a direct correlation there.
You know what I mean?
Although if you're a guy, I don't know.
Depends on your audience. Depends on your audience. If you see good at marketing. But yeah, so I would say know what the risks are, what the benefits are, and then you have to try to use it responsibly. But we can't fully isolate.
You have to know yourself as well in that, right? Because what are you as a person? What are your weaknesses? Not everyone's the same, right?
That's right. That's right. And once you know what your weaknesses are, it is also on you to put controls in place and hold yourself accountable and be honest with yourself.
And I guess that becomes more and more difficult when you go independent, all of a sudden you're away from your family or you travel somewhere else and you start earning on your own. That kind of plays a big factor because, responsibility and freedom, it's a balance there.
Yeah, plus if you have your phone and your parents are in the next room, you're like, I want to watch this video, but your parents are in the next room, I gotta lock the door.
Yeah.
Okay. You're at home, you're alone, you're paying your own rent, no one's around you, you're like...
I guess that's one of the benefits of staying busy, right? Like, as you said earlier, if you're always occupied with something good, then there's no space for the evil to come in, right? So.
Yeah. And then the conversation on addiction is completely different. We might need a whole 40-minute discussion for that. So
I mean, it's, I guess, just like to kind of run by you is what are your methods of giving da'wah, basically? Because yes, there is the way of going confrontational da'wah where you go, would you like to talk about the purpose of life, etc. But there's also kind of you as a person when you're in, let's say, a workplace or if you're in school, what's your advice to someone that you can't exactly go to your, it's kind of too taboo in a way, and they don't feel comfortable going out and giving da'wah, maybe because of their knowledge, right? They don't feel like they're informed enough. Yet they still have a passion. They want to somehow, at least know that they gave the certain message. How would you suggest to do that? What are some tips?
So this brings me back to the question, or rather the topic of da'wah when I did the Friday sermon on da'wah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you recall that. And I talked about the micro level da'wah and macro level da'wah. For me personally, I like to divide them into micro and macro. So the micro level da'wah, or let's actually start off with the macro. The macro level da'wah is the one we see all the time.
Yeah.
We see preachers. We see, what do they call it? Preacher's Corner? Or Speaker's Corner?
Speaker's Corner.
Speaker's Corner in London, Hyde Park. Like that's what everyone knows knows them for, right?
Yeah.
And you will watch a video and be like, wow, dude, how could this person formulate their thoughts and their words and articulate in such a manner and confrontation and all that. And I call that macro level da'wah. Like it's confrontational, in your face. Then you have the debates on stages. Right? You have people in a university, some auditorium, debating atheism versus Islam or feminism, masculinity, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All of these, macro level.
Yeah.
Then you have, I would say, medium level da'wah, and that's like street da'wah, where someone just has a kiosk, someone comes asking you questions, you're handing pamphlets, you answer about Islam. And it's confrontational face to face, but you're not really reaching as much of an audience. There's no camera there. There's no audience there buying tickets to listen to you. But, you still have to have knowledge, you still have to be skilled and be able to answer questions. Yeah. But then the micro level da'wah. The vast majority of us might not be able to do the macro or the medium level da'wahs.
Yeah.
Because we might not have all the knowledge.
Yeah.
We might not be as comfortable speaking in front of an audience. We might not be as quick on our feet,
Yeah.
thinking and responding. So does that mean the door for dawah is closed for us? No. The vast majority of us can do one of the most effective forms of dawah. And that's the small level, micro level, one-on-one with your coworkers and your colleagues at work, at school, university, your not only your classmates, but people you play sports with.
Yeah.
Anybody that is around you, people you volunteer with. So something as small as if someone comes to you and says, "Hey Mo, you wanna go do this tomorrow?" And you're like, "All right, cool. All right, we're gonna go to this place and we're gonna go there. Oh, what is that? That's a bar. Okay." And
Yeah,
you're a
can't
little
do that.
uncomfortable. So what are we gonna do there? Oh, we're just gonna go. We're just all gonna drink. You're like, I don't really feel comfortable being there. You know, I don't drink.
Yeah.
Or even a simpler example. We're at a restaurant or at a work function and someone hands you a beer because that's
Yeah.
we're in Bermuda.
Yo. Yeah.
Alcohol,
It runs in our blood, metaphorically.
alcohol. It's not an addiction. It's tradition.
Yeah, that's,
You know?
it's an art.
It's
a
it's
cuisine.
an Olympic sport at this point. You know what I mean? And something as small as someone gives you a beer. Hey Mo, you want a beer? Hey Numer, you want a beer?
Yeah.
The difference between saying, "No, I'm good. I gotta drive home. No, I'm good. I gotta, I don't like drinking.
Diet.
I'm on diet." Versus, "Oh, sorry, I don't drink. I'm a Muslim. It's against my religion."
Yeah.
Done. That is a form of dawah. That is dawah. And then they might be like, "Oh, cool. I respect that," and leave. Or they might be like, "Huh? Why? Why does he not drink? Why don't you drink? This is a responsible adult. They can do whatever they want. No one can tell them what to do, and they choose not to drink because it's the religion, obeying God, and they can think further. Some of them look it up, and that could be a gate, and that can be their way of putting their foot in the door and learning more about Islam.
That's happened, like, another example of that is, which has happened to me quite often, is when I'm playing sports, I'll tend to wear 3/4 shorts, that come up to your knees. And like when you're playing tennis, it's quite, people are wearing
Short shorts.
Yeah, like they're short shorts. They're like, they take short to another level. It's like YouTube shorts, basically, and they see me and they're like, "Wait, why are you wearing these long shorts? They're inhibiting your movement. You're running to go get the ball. It's obviously slowing you down." And sometimes it's tempting to give an answer like, I just have this, or one of the famous players, Nadal, Rafael Nadal, he used to wear 3/4. And you could always say, I just copy Nadal because he's my favorite player. Or you could be like, it's because of my religion, which I've given this answer a couple of times. My religion says I have to cover its modesty, as women have to wear their hijab. We have a certain hour to cover from our navel to our knees. And sometimes, again, they're just like, okay, it's a 15-year-old kid. They're like, I don't care. Sometimes they do care. They're like, wait, so why? I thought it was only women who had to cover. And then that opens a door in which you can answer questions and kind of, at least, even if they're not going to become Muslim or they're not going to look more into Islam, they're going to know that Muslims have answers to these questions and it's not a backwards religion. What they think religion has no answers to anything is just blind faith, right? Mm-hmm. So,
and it's very important because you said, like, how do people, if they're at school and they want to give dawah and they do love it, but they're just not sure how to do it, and they don't want to force it down someone's throat. I'm a Muslim, hey, you want to learn about Islam? No, dude, I'm just here to go to class. Yeah. So, don't do that, right?
Yeah.
But be unapologetically Muslim.
Yeah.
Be proud of being Muslim. And it's not easy to say, especially like when there aren't that many Muslims around you. If there are more Muslims, sometimes you develop a little more, courage because you're like, oh, there's a few of us.
Yeah.
So I can be a little braver as a Muslim. But it does come with age and with knowledge as well. But something to be aware of. Be unapologetically Muslim. Hey, can we please get a cheese pizza? Why? It's pepperoni. Well, I don't eat pepperoni. That's pork.
Yeah.
It's against my religion. I'm a Muslim.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. They learn something new about Islam.
Yeah.
Right? Can we do this at 12 o'clock on a Friday? Oh, we can't. I have Friday prayers.
Yeah.
Versus, oh, actually, I have an appointment.
Yeah, the appointment card, I've Look, like sometimes we've been there, we've used it. Sometimes
Listen, I know the card because it's been used. I'm just saying.
it's been used, but it's a very strong card too. The appointment one. They're like,
They do.
how many appointments?
Every Friday, this dude's got an appointment.
Like therapy or what is going on?
What's going on? Some sort of. It is a form of therapy, I guess. Prayer. And once, one of the partners at the accounting firm I was working at, he said, he wanted to book a meeting on Friday or something. And I said, yeah, sure. Can we just do it after Friday prayers?
Yeah.
He was like, oh, okay, sure. What's that?
Yeah.
And I said, oh, you know how some people go to church on Sundays, some
Yeah.
Saturdays, or like a synagogue.
Yeah.
We go to the mosque, the masjid, and we have our congregational prayer on Friday with the sermon and everything. And he went, oh, how often does that happen? I was like, Friday.
There's only one Friday a week, buddy.
And he just went, yeah, cool.
And you said he was the partner.
He was a partner. He was a very smart guy, financially speaking.
Very smart.
Financially speaking, terrific guy. Very good guy.
Financially speaking.
Yeah. Till this day, if he watches this, he knows who he is.
Oh, you think so? Okay. I mean,
I think he's watched a few of my videos as well.
really?
So,
okay.
Very good guy. He gives me a lot of ideas for my videos too.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
In a good way?
He's the one that asked questions, and I'm like, this would be a great video idea.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. You should just thank him, pat on the back.
Give him some royalties, you know.
Hey, I mean,
Hey.
if you earn the commission.
Listen, I mean, I made like $10 on YouTube in the past, 6 months. I'm not
you
trying
could
to
give
brag.
Him, just
but
give him like $2. Hey, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Homie.
20% of my profits right there.
Yeah, so.
But yeah, that would be my.
Okay, I mean, that's
advice.
inshallah, that's good food for thought.